Hello, everybody, and
Hello
to the Horsefoot Horse Partners house.
Hour of radio.
I'm your trusty steed, Michael McMillan. With me always is your magnificent stallion.
Ooh, Riley Bray.
How's it going, everybody?
Good. You did leave Horst on the table there. You know,
Horst.
Yeah, I'm your Horst.
I'm your Horst. I'm your Horst. Yeah, I guess I'm worried.
All right.
I'm your Horst.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah, we'll workshop it, guys.
We'll move back around.
You know what? Forget it. Before we roll into the show, this is another exciting unlocked declassified episode from BCC, The Other Side, over at patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub. This is the story about the 1958 encounter between a traveling salesman, I believe, named Wetzel, and a weird, spindly, spidery, scaly creature known as the Riverside Monster. This is a homegrown California, much like the Casablanca entities. And in fact, one of the reasons I put these two episodes back to back is that this, now I can mention it now, this all took place in the same area. The Casablanca entities from last week and the Riverside Monster all happened within like a few miles of each other. And they were both in the 50s.
Interesting. Some sort of high strangeness portal area, perhaps.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So also in this episode, we have some Michael's Mysteries videos and, of course, our recurring segment, Commenters Club, where we get to speak directly to you guys about your thoughts and feelings about the show. If you're interested in hearing more episodes like this one, we will be doing new episodes over on the Patreon all December long. You get 3 bonus episodes every month. You get you can upgrade for ad-free episodes and cosmic tracks, which are original pieces of music from the show by Riley, and sometimes just original pieces of music that you whip up.
Depends on what kind of mood I'm in that day.
Now that you're a Dungeon Core master.
Cadaver Wave.
That's right, Cadaver Wave. We decided we're going to call it. All right, everyone. We'll be back next week with another declassified episode. In the meantime, enjoy the Riverside Monster.
Go?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay, cool.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the other side, the parallel dimension to Bigfoot Collectors Club. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. Filling in for your alternate host, Bryce Johnson, is Ultra Terrestrial.
I jumped it.
Producer
Riley Bray.
There you go.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm good, dude. So you were in the desert this weekend filming things, right? What were you doing? It looks pretty cool. You posted some stuff.
Yeah, I was filming the Desert Days Music Festival, which is I've been a part of it for a long time, maybe 10
before
years.
This podcast existed.
Yeah. There was no life before this podcast existed. I was just in a primordial sort of ooze, and then but yeah, it's this really cool festival that started with like these kind of like LA psych rock bands back in the day, and it's grown into this big festival. And I'm on the film team there, so I was filming. I was shooting full sets with a team, and they're going to come out as concert films that people can like buy a ticket to online, as you do now in the post-pandy world. But yeah, it was really cool. My camera was set up on the front of the stage, and I had 20 feet of rails and what's called a Dana dolly. I don't know how like people know what that is. It's like
I went to high school with Dana Dolly. She
Dana
was
dolly
sliding all over the place.
Good one. Yeah, it's like the skateboard thing that you put your camera on, but it was super fun to be like, first of all, I'm just like, there's all these people at this concert, and it's my job to stand exactly in front of everyone and just like have my own little show on my little TV that I'm just like can watch it exactly how I want to watch it. And just like annoy all the photographers in the pit as I'm just constantly sliding around, getting in their way. But man, it was a blast. And I just got some amazing footage and saw just great music, found some new music that I hadn't heard yet. Yeah, it was just awesome.
And a lot of butts and like thongs and fishnets, it looks like.
A lot of butts are in these days.
Butts are back, baby.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard.
Gen Z, they're all about the butts, I tell you.
Well, isn't that the thing that like Gen Z loves to eat butt?
Yeah, I was alluding to that. I didn't know if we were going to go all the way, but yeah, that is.
You know what? If they're with us still, if they're with us during a hiatus, over on the Patreon, then we can say, listen, we know Gen Z likes to eat butt. Okay,
we know we elder millennials or you're Gen X, huh? Are you
baby. Yeah, Bryce and I are Gen X. Can you believe it? We're fucking old.
You guys are like a cool guy generation. I feel like millennials are just like we're like sandwiched between like two cool generations, and we're just like are kind of like sad that we couldn't get jobs. That's our thing.
Yeah, but that gave you plenty of time to discover eating ass and enjoying it.
Right, that's true. No, that's the millennials. No,
I mean, I know you're up to something because as we were coordinating this record session, you mentioned that you had to take a call real quick, and instead of writing sorry, the text that you sent me was so wet. ...
I saw that autocorrect like as it said, and I'm on a work call, and I was like, and then I also tried to send you sorry ... and so I sent you so wet ...
I was like, whoa,
all right.
Somebody's been having some sexy texties lately.
Really still into that loosey-goosey festival atmosphere here.
Yeah, I guess so. Although you also do love, for the record, you do like to write, you do a lot of like baby sorries when you don't want either Bryce and I to be annoyed with you. You'll go sorry. And I'm like, oh, look at him trying to be cute.
Softens the annoyance just a little bit. When I'm an hour late for something.
So wet. All right, everybody. Well, we have a fun-filled episode for you guys. This is going to be a campfire stories episode. I have a mini story of high strangeness prepped and ready to go, but we're going to do some stuff before we get there, including morning announcements. Club Scouts of all timelines. Next week here on the Patreon, BCC The Other Side, we're going to have a movie club episode. We took a cue from our conversation with Bryce last week. Isn't that right, Riley?
Mm-hmm.
And tell them what movie we're going to be watching and reviewing.
We're going to watch UFO, and I'm very excited about it. It's wait, can I? You're throwing me off on my time of reality. I've already watched it. I loved it, but we're gonna watch it for the thing later. We're gonna pretend like I didn't just say that. So we're gonna watch it. Everybody.
It's fine, guys. Listen, between you and us, we're recording 2 back-to-back episodes. It's fine. We've already watched it. That's okay, and we're gonna be talking about it on next week's episode.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's great. So watch it. Watch it before the episode. It's fun. Watch it.
Yeah, Gillian Anderson, a young actor whose name escapes me off the top of my head. I could pull up my notes if I wanted to. He's a British actor who was in The Curious Case of the Missing Dog in the Night. Let me see. Yeah, well, we'll get into this. But anyway,
save it for the next episode. Yeah,
you can find it on. We rented it. I think you can rent it on Amazon Prime or Apple TV. We always hate to ask you to like spend a little extra cash since you're already supporting the show, but it's out there. You can find it. It's from 2019. Gillian Anderson, UFO. A lot of other things with the title UFO, so just make sure that you're watching the correct movie. So that's it. Also, for December, we're going to bring back Book Club. I am swimming around a couple different ideas, but if any of you guys have some recommendations or things you really want to read for the book club, please put them in the comments beneath this episode, and I will check those out, and then I will announce what book we're going to read towards a little closer to the end of the month. And I might even just blast that out as a written post, email to you guys over on the Patreon, but we'll figure it out. So I have a couple. One I was thinking was Communion. We've never actually read the book, but that's a heavy hitter. And maybe we save that for like a true, like deep dive high strangeness. But it does take place around, I mean, that abduction took place around Christmas time, so I thought that might be a fun December read, and I might overcome my fear of the cover of that book. We've obviously done the movie, but we haven't done the book. So that was one of mine. Another one is this book that I found called High Weirdness by Eric Davis, which is sort of about psychedelic encounters.
Oh yeah, didn't the listeners send us a recommendation of that book?
No, I picked it up a couple months ago. It's been sitting on my stack of books, and I sent a picture of it to you and Bryce was like, "Oh hell yeah!"
Oh hell yeah!
So maybe we can do
DM
that
book as well.
Maybe we can do that if you guys want some like groovy, weird stories of high strangeness involving psychedelics. The other thing that I thought, this actually might be what I want to do, is take a little bit of a left turn and do a graphic novel for book club. We've never really discussed The Invisibles by Grant Morrison on this podcast. We've mentioned it, and I thought maybe we could read the first two volumes of The Invisibles. We're never going to get all the way through it. I mean, we could do a whole series where we eventually get through it, but that would be a really, really fun one.
I'm into that. I've never read any of that. So,
dude, it's great. It gets into everything that we've been talking about for the past 4 years, which is why I sort of want to go back. I haven't read it in probably 15 years now. And I feel like I would appreciate it so much more having done this show. So, you know what? I'll put up a poll. I'll put up a poll for Communion, High Weirdness, or The Invisibles. You guys can vote on that poll, and if you have an alternate, then mention it in the comments of this episode or beneath that the poll. Okay? It'll be fine. We'll figure it out. All right. Moving on. It's time for Commenters Club. I can never remember if it's Comments Club or Commenters Club.
Was it never Commenters Corner?
Maybe it was Collector's Corner and then Comments Club, I think is what it is. But I could be wrong. These things change all the time.
It's all made up anyways, so.
It's true. We can do whatever we want.
Whatever we want, yeah.
Okay. So this comes from Eric, who wrote us this. I just listened to The Other Side about the UFO documentary. So again, we've already watched something called UFO, so just remember there's many UFO titles out there. Right. Where he touched on Skinwalker Ranch again. I seriously think the whole portal thing is worth considering. Wormhole kind of stuff. If you want an interesting perspective on that, read The Light of Other Days, published in 2000 by Arthur C. Clarke and Stephen Baxter. It's one of the last novels that Clarke wrote before passing on to whatever's next for our consciousness. And remember, Clarke had a number of hard sci-fi predictions that eventually became science fact, like synchronous satellites, also named the Clarke orbit after him, the internet, search engines, email, mobile phones, telecommuting, smartwatches, the iPad, see video tablets used by the Discovery astronauts in the 2001 movie, which predates the book, etc. In The Light of Other Days, he talks about how humanity's discovery and use of wormhole technology to peer across distances without the delay of the speed of light and into the past to revisit and see how history really occurred and how that subsequently affects society. I personally think he was onto something given his futuristic prediction track record. Related, and possibly even more directly related to your podcast, Clarke had a show called Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, where he categorized 3 kinds of mysteries. First kind being something that once was not understood but now is understood. Second kind being something that is currently not fully understood, but can be in the future. And the third kind is something of which we have no understanding. Great show, and I like his categorization. Could be useful in your discussions. I think those mystery categories have a great synergy with his third law, which is any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. I think some of the paranormal fits this advanced tech bill, but not all. See his second and third kind of mysteries for more general classification. Keep up the great work, guys. You're opening minds, but keeping skepticism on the table while doing so. What a fucking awesome note from Eric.
That was an excellent comment. Very interesting and well said. And also, thanks for saying so. And I like that where he landed there too, because I think that is kind of what we're trying to do, right? It's like, let's be open minded, but like let's be reasonable here, But,
yeah, you can't lose yourself completely into it. You can still get excited, but you just can't. You can't fully go overboard with this stuff.
Right. Yeah. I definitely, the last Patreon we did, the Ultimate Bullshit or Believe It, really kind of stuck with me. I was thinking about that whole, it's either all real or it's all bullshit. And it's like, I've been thinking about that lately. And I'm sure you'll maybe get into it in this, as this continues.
Yes. We actually have some comments on that coming up.
Well, then I guess I set you up just perfectly for that.
We had a couple messages or comments from Abby Matthews, who's always a welcome participant on the comments section. Guys, get into it. It's fun. Who left a comment about the Stoll, Kansas story from last month. She wrote, "Great guest spot regarding the Kansas abandoned house story. I wish people would remember / understand that old homesteads and historic houses, even ones built up to the 1950s, had root cellars. These often looked like a cave tunnel with wooden doors that went under the house from one side, or just a dirt hole in a closet of the basement. This isn't a place where people were tortured and murdered. It was where Mima kept her jarred peaches, onions, and potatoes during hard winters. My friend just moved into a house with a root cellar and thought it gave off creepy and haunted vibes, but it was literally just potato storage from the gardeners who lived there before him, LOL." So
I don't know, man. It's still creepy. It's a creepy place to keep your potatoes. Look, put them in the pantry like a normal person, all right?
Yes. Not all root cellars are portals to hell, and not all portals to hell are root cellars. Regarding Zombie Bigfoot's Scary 16 Monster Showdown 2, Bob wrote, "I would like to suggest for the runner-up t-shirt having the nun on her speedboat with an umbrella drink and the caption, 'Winning isn't everything.'"
I like that. I want that shirt. That's
not a bad pitch.
Yeah.
More ideas for the shirt. Scott writes, "Repley holding the nun's head up in the air on the speedboat with the Golden State Bridge and flying monkeys in the background." Now that's a t-shirt.
Yeah, or like a trucker hat, like a embroidered patch on it. That would be super sick.
Ooh, I like that too. Rachel Bussert wrote, "Michael, as a D&D widow, I've spent a fair amount of time in gaming stores. You know that they were." Oh, this is in reference to when I showed up at that gaming store and the person came out from the back.
Right.
"You know that they were in the middle of a campaign in the back of the store, right? There was no time for further pleasantries." Rachel, I like this theory. However, I could see into the back and they were alone. It could mean that they were doing it remotely. That's true.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that they were not nice. They was just, it was like stepping into like a true medieval hoarder's store. You know what I mean? That's all I meant. But anyway, I like that theory. I'm sure they were at least getting around to it. Okay, we did have some comments from Ultimate Bullshit or Believe It 3. Rachel again wrote, "If somebody wanted to Christina Lauren the BCC fanfic of Bryce and the Daughter of Neonis, I would be all in. It's a cozy, small-town romance, but the small town just happens to be in the jet ski dimension. People are all about this new romance that Bryce has brewing with Neonis' daughter, whose name...
Half woman, half jet ski, half... What was her third half?
I think she was just blonde. He kept saying she was blonde.
She's definitely blonde. I think she was half fish, half woman, half jet ski. I think
she was like a jet. Her fish scales to her tails were like a combination of fish and jet ski.
So hot.
So wet. Sarah Arthur said, OMG, I love this idea. Taking the Christina Lauren thing a bit too literally, here's the jet ski dimension version of the plot description from their book, Twice in a Blue Moon. Sam Bryce Brandis was Tate Jones's first, her first love, her first everything, including her first heartbreak. During a whirlwind 2-week vacation abroad, Bryce and Tate fell for each other in the only way that first loves do, sharing all of their hopes, dreams, and deepest secrets along the way. Bryce was the first and only person that Tate, the half mermaid, half jet ski, half hot chick daughter of Neonis, the evil overlord of the jet ski dimension, ever revealed her identity to. So when it becomes clear her trust was misplaced, her world shattered for good. 14 years later, Tate, now an up-and-coming actress, only thinks about her first love every once in a blue moon. When she steps out onto the set of her first big break, he's the last person she expects to see. Yet here Bryce is, the same charming, confident man she knew, but even more alluring than she remembered. Forced to confront the man who betrayed her, Tate must ask herself if it's possible to do the wrong thing for the right reason, whether once in a lifetime can come around twice. This is brilliant, and also I love that the mermaid daughter's name is Tate.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I'll tell you what. Sold it in the room. You know what? we're buying what you're pitching right there.
Love it. And then Abby Matthews came back, said, I'm pretty sure the daughter of the jet ski lord looks like the woman from the Warrant Cherry Pie video with the natty light in one hand and a trident in the other. I love that.
Definitely true. Yeah.
Trident also has a bottle opener on it. And she says, to address your thoughts, Riley, P.S. I don't think your answers are being contradictory. I think that you're all just learning how to transcend polarity consciousness. Smiley face.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Like that. Exactly. Well put.
Guys, so much support coming in from you guys. We appreciate it. I love it. I love it when an episode like Ultimate Bullshit or Believe It 3 has like 24 comments. You know, this is great. This is what we want to see. Yeah. We love this engagement. We love you guys chit-chatting with each other.
Yeah, the engagement with each other makes us so happy. It's so cool to see like people making friendships over the show and like within the Patreon. It's very cool. We love it, you guys. We really do.
All right, we're moving on from that over to Michael's Mysteries.
Oh, you hijacked it. Yeah, cool.
I hijacked it. So Sarah V, Patreon, thank you, Patreon. She sent us a TikTok link that she said, not sure if this TikTok link will work, but wanted to send this way for Bryce's secret stash. Well, guess what, Sarah? Bryce is in the jet ski dimension, and therefore it's going into Michael's Mysteries. A creepy ghost visitor to some unsuspecting pups. Now, Riley, I have sent you this video, and it does indeed work.
I like it. Well, a millennial and a Gen Xer can open a TikTok. This is happening here.
Okay, so it's a little long. I'm putting this in notes, so everybody cue it up. It's from a user named Shani Fan TG Tara Green. Sorry for the obnoxious barking at the beginning. Watch my black dog, which is the dog on the right. Ghost takes her collar off in the crate. Okay, so are you queued up, Riley?
Mm-hmm. It's rolling while you're talking here.
Okay, great. So
I'm watching this dog.
Just keep it's 45 seconds. It's worth the wait. These dogs are going nuts, barking in their crates in a living room of a house, and there's like a security camera.
What? Whoa, that was weird. Did he just jump out of his collar somewhere? That was weird.
No, they get really quiet, and then you can see the strap unbuckle.
What the?
And the dog's like, whoa, what the fuck is happening?
Appropriately so. Yo, that's weird.
Dude, I do get goosebumps. You can see, if you look close, I feel like you can see the buckle, like the strap come out from the buckle as if someone's undoing it.
Yeah, you totally can.
Under his chin.
The dog out. I'm just like playing it over and over and over again.
And it's weird that they get really quiet before it happens.
Yeah.
And something definitely startles him.
I don't love this. This is... Oh, God, the way that he reacts to is really, really sells it. Man.
It is really scary.
Yeesh.
I feel like you see it move before it comes off,
It
right?
moves as though a hand.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that is, yeah. I
That's
don't know.
wild.
It's creepy. I don't know.
Creepy.
Listeners, give us your thoughts. Is this collar just falling off and scaring the dog, or is a ghost removing that collar?
Tara Green, move to another house.
Tara Green.
Yeah.
I mean, these dogs do look like they also just hate being in these crates, judging from all the shredded blankets in there.
Yeah, it doesn't look super happy in there.
I mean, they're fine. They're totally fine in those
true.
crates.
I always forget that dogs actually do like being in crates a lot of times.
Albie fucking loved it, dude.
Yeah, a lot of dogs are into it. Yeah, it's like cozy.
He loved it. Violet, oof, I could not crate train her. It was really hard. Albie would just go put himself in his crate and hang out there. He loved a little den.
Yeah, Nova. I don't have a crate for him, but he there's these speakers in the studio that's like these big giant speakers, and he has this little nook that he goes behind it, and so I put a little bed in there behind the speaker, and he just hangs out in there.
Miss my Nova.
Yeah, you gotta come say hi. Well, this video has 1.7 million likes, so maybe it's just a ghost influencer.
Love that. We could use one of those here on the podcast.
Yeah, if there's any ghost influencers listening, give me a little boost in the numbers, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Okay, well, I brought in a mini story of high strangeness. I think this makes a good campfire story. This is something that I have been trying to track down. There's not a ton of information out there on this. It seems that most sources cite this book, Weird California, part of the Weird State series, okay? Mm-hmm. Which I happen to have. So it's funny because I was looking for this cryptid, and it turns out it was in my bookshelf all along. Mm. But I think this guy pops up in the back of that illustrated history of UFOs. Although I'm not sure it's the same creature. This all takes place in Riverside, California. So if anybody out there has more information or can give me a source, the thing I couldn't find was the original newspaper article where these quotes are coming from, where it was originally reported. I always try to find the original news story and just read that, when I'm doing research.
Right.
But this one was tough, but I got enough of it that it's a cool little campfire story.
Cool. Man, synchronicity. I was in Riverside today.
No way.
Yeah, pretty weird.
Because, dude, I wish I'd known this ahead of time because I kind of want to go up there and see this bridge because I guess you can find it. So,
well, here's an interesting thing that I'll throw out there. This festival is at a place called Lake Paris. It's a man-made lake, like out in Riverside area. And I saw a lot of people on jet skis on this lake, and I was like, wait a minute, this could be the place.
Oh, so let's talk off mic because now I'm getting excited.
I know.
So wet. Okay, here we go. This. Oh, wait, pull up a little fire. Let's get a little fire going.
Okay, here we go. Hold on. Let me start the fire. Let me rub some sticks.
Start that fire for us, Riley. Guys, if you're listening at home, you want to pour yourself a little cup of tea or hot chocolate or a little bit of, a hot toddy.
Mm-hmm. And one of those blue, white speckled enamel mugs,
Oh, yes, the tin speckled.
Yep.
White. Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Everyone
Get one
knows
of those.
What we're talking about.
Tin speckled mug. It's like common phraseology.
Pull up a log, just
Yeah, pull up a log. There we go. You can really feel that fire
over your legs. That's nice. All right.
This is the story of the Riverside Monster.
Kind of a vague monster name, really. I was kind of hoping for a little.
AKA the Riverside Bridge Monster.
Better. Okay. I'm with you.
So, 6th Street? 3 years ago.
In Riverside, California. What if you did the whole thing like that?
That would be fun. Maybe I should just turn into like a crazy old man for these stories.
I mean,
this one did have an anniversary. It was last week, 63 years ago, on November 8th, 1958. A man by the name of Charles Wetzel, no relation to the pretzels, was on his way home in Riverside, California. It had been a rainy week, and the Santa Ana River was overflowing across the surface of Main Street. As Wetzel navigated the slick surface alongside the river, he approached an overpass from the Main Street Bridge. In children's stories, we know that trolls can often be found lurking beneath bridges. Perhaps there is truth to those old legends, because what Wetzel encountered was straight out of a tale of fantasy. As Wetzel approached the underpass, his car radio flared up with static. And suddenly, there was movement from the wet underbrush. A swift blur and a loud thump as an elongated creature landed in front of Wetzel's car. Wetzel skidded the car to a slippery halt, and the entity appeared in the headlights, covered in green, leaf-like scales, with spindly arms and legs that protruded from the sides of its abdomen, not too dissimilar than that of an insect. Wetzel described the creature as having a round scarecrow's head, like something out of Halloween. It wasn't human. It had arms longer than anything I'd ever seen. When it saw me in the car, it reached all the way to the back of the windshield and began clawing at me. It didn't have any ears. The face was all round. The eyes were shining like something fluorescent. And it had a protuberant mouth. Wetzel scrambled to grab a .22 caliber pistol that he kept under his seat. But he had second thoughts about rolling down the window to fire at the mysterious attacker. Instead, he slammed on the gas and ran the monster over, hearing it scrape and rattle underneath the car. The creature let out a horrific scream as Wetzel drove off into the so wet night.
That wet Riverside night.
That wet, gushing Riverside night. Wetzel drove to the nearest police station. They returned with him to the scene of the incident, and there were no signs of the Riverside Bridge monster or its body. But the police did find very apparent claw marks on the windshield and scratches underneath Wetzel's car. So it did leave behind a bit of physical evidence. Now, I'm going to read directly from the Weird California book here, where it says, the next night, another spook driver reported a similar experience. And if anyone else saw the pumpkin-headed ghoul, they kept it to themselves, and the Santa Ana River Basin has been quiet since then, except in the 1970s, when Bigfoot-like tracks were discovered nearby. I thought this was interesting. This is a part I wanted to read. They report that in his book, Mysterious America, researcher Lauren Coleman has pointed out the preponderance of weird things associated with place and personal names. Wetzel was a name that's high on the list, along with Fayette, Hobbs, and of course, anything associated with the devil. Coleman also discovered that another Charles Wetzel, this one in Nebraska, had seen something that resembled a kangaroo hopping around his farm in July of the same year. So we have another phantom kangaroo synchronicity happening.
That's a very specific thing.
These kangaroos are hopping all across our episodes here on the other side and straight into our hearts.
Yeah. Wait, so just to pause on what you were just saying. So the name Wetzel is associated with paranormal experience? That's what you're saying?
There's a lot of... Coleman was like... Kind of like how John Keel had figured out, like, calculated that the best chance to see a UFO based on all recorded sightings that he researched was, like, Wednesdays around 7:21 in the evening.
Right.
So Coleman has just noted that a lot of names recur in these high strangeness stories, whether it's a town or a person name. And Wetzel is one of those. And in fact, there was another Charles Wetzel who that same year saw a cryptid.
Wow. I wonder if there's some sort of weird paranormal sigil magic going on with Wetzel's Pretzels.
Yeah, quite honestly. I mean, we should find out if the founder of Wetzel's Pretzels ever ran over a cryptid. Maybe he ran over a cryptid, got out of the car, and it was tangled up in the shape of a pretzel.
Those
and
long arms, longer than you've ever seen. And then he invented the Wetzel's Pretzel.
That's where Wetzel's Pretzels come from.
That's true. That's factual, actually. So,
well, fandom kangaroos may surprise us in our hearts, but that Riverside Bridge monster will surprise us in our nightmares.
I mean, a little bit. Doesn't this just sound like a hit and run?
Yeah. This is just a man who literally ran over someone and then made up the fact that it was actually a monster.
Right. He's like, "What? He had a scarecrow head and a protuberant mouth."
Yeah, and it's 1958. Everyone was drinking and driving back then.
He's just wasted. Yeah.
So I don't know, but I do like this creature. I want to know more about it. I like that its arms and legs are sticking out from its abdomen instead of like shoulders and hips.
Yeah, that's gross and creepy. I like that. And they're super long and it has claws. Yeah.
And the leaf-like scales is very specific.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So it's almost a lizard man. It's almost a mantoid alien. I don't know what this thing is. Maybe when the river flooded, it came up. Maybe it's a river monster.
Yeah. Which I think I called bullshit on in the last one, right?
You did call bullshit on the White River monster, yes.
Yeah, I don't know about this Wetzel River monster either. It really kind of sounds like this guy just ran somebody over.
The world may never know.
That's true. Good story though. Spooky.
All right, well, let's put out the fire. We don't want to leave it burning.
Good. That's good. Good club scout.
Let's do Smokey the Bear rules here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's leave the forest in better shape than we found it.
Amen to that.
And before we close out this week's episode of The Other Side, let's have a little collector's corner. I just finished, speaking of graphic novels, my wonderful girlfriend gave me the complete collection in one volume of Brian K. Vaughan's and Cliff Chiang's Paper Girls, which I was one of the few Brian K. Vaughan. This is a guy who does Saga. He did Why the Last Man. He did Ex Machina. He created The Runaways for Marvel. This is one of the few of his that I hadn't read yet. And oh my God, is it so fucking good. It is female driven, like female characters. And I don't want to give away the hook, but it is so up our listeners' alleys. So I cannot recommend Paper Girls. You can get it in individual volumes. I think there's like maybe 8 or 9 total, maybe a little less. I think it's 30 issues, separate issues, and then you can get like the big collected. It's about as thick as a phone book, but that's the one I read. And my God, it was like. What I just read it this weekend. It was one of the most enjoyable times I've had reading a comic book or consuming any kind of media in quite some time. It's great. It's really, really good.
Man,
it's like a better Stranger Things.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I think they are making a TV show of it. So I'm so very much looking forward to it. I just truly, truly loved this comic. So I could not recommend more.
I gotta look into that. I wanna do graphic novels. I've only ever read the Watchmen, and I really, really liked it.
Yeah, that's the one. If most people have read it. If they're gonna read one, they'll read that. I can send some your way. Maybe we should do the Invisibles.
It was a good recommendation. I'm on board with that.
Cool.
That could be interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it to the people to decide.
But. Leave it to the people. Hey, just remember. I mean, Bryce isn't here to suggest anything, but just remember. What happened last time? You guys didn't listen to me, and you listened to Riley. Okay, remember.
There's a reason that Michael sort of generally sets the agenda. The man does the research. It's a solid platform. Let's remember that.
We could have. We got. Just remember, your votes count, and your votes count. Votes matter. Remember.
Just remembering that movie, I'm now like in a bad mood. Like, oh yeah, we watched that thing.
I cannot believe I sat through Interviewing Monsters and Bigfoot. That was.
I think I offended our guest when I said that I turned it off. He was like, "I finished it."
You were. I mean, we really should have sent him like a cookie bouquet or something.
Like one of those what is it, the Harry and David or something, those fancy pear.
Yes. Like I send my parents chicken pot pies every winter.
We owe him some sort of apology in the mail for that.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was so embarrassing. And a movie critic nonetheless. Oh my God. That was one of the most embarrassing moments of the show. Getting a few minutes into that and being like, oh God, we sent this to this dude to watch.
Oh boy. All right, everybody. Wait, do you have anything for the Collector's Corner? Anything that you've been getting into, watching, consuming? It could be related to the show or not.
I do. Not sort of related to the show. I mean, it's music, and music is a way to transcend dimensions or whatever, especially this particular band that I'm going to recommend. They're a Japanese band, and they're called Kikagaku Moyo, spelled like it sounds. And it's kind of like just a little bit like jazz influenced, kind of maybe, but it's very much like psych rock. And one of the dudes like switches between this sitar that he holds like a guitar, where it's so like the gourd is flattened, and then and synth, and like I filmed them at Desert Days, so I'm particularly just like whoa. And it was just one of the most dynamic, most like feeling bands I've ever seen. And I'd been listening to their music ahead of time. I've been kind of like geeked on them lately, so I was really excited to see the show, and it did not disappoint. So if you ever get a chance to see them, they definitely do tour around, and they have a lot of music online. And I'm just like really, really like that band a lot. So
cool.
That's my
definitely need to check that out.
Kikagaku Moyo.
Speaking of music too, if you haven't already, watch the Velvet Underground documentary
but I got very excited
by Todd Haynes. It's on Apple TV Plus. I watched it this weekend. It's fucking awesome. You'll love it.
Saying that,
yeah. Check it out. All right, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you for listening during the Free Feeds hiatus. I mean, guys, this is a place to get. This is right now. The Other Side is the only place to get new exclusive episodes of Bigfoot Collectors Club, and we will continue this from now until when we return in January. So keep supporting the show. Tell a friend. Recommend. If you're friends with somebody who listens to BCC who hasn't tried this out yet, do us a favor. Ask them to check us out for a little while. We would really appreciate it. We love you. We love the support. So that means kisses. And
thank you, Patreon.
We'll see you guys next week for UFO Bigfoot Movie Club.